You are in the right spot at the right time in this exact moment for a reason. And you have to trust that whatever path you're on is specific to you and your unique situation. And you come back 5 months later after not living in a place and you realize that that place served a purpose for you in your life. What is going on, my friends? Welcome back to another episode of the Morning Takeaway Podcast, aka the Inside Influence Podcast, on this very special, happy, merry, jolly Christmas edition of the podcast. As you're seeing, this is probably coming out a couple days after Christmas, but I want to reiterate that I hope you are having an incredible holiday season. I hope you are spending it with people that you enjoy, doing things that you love to do with those people, and if you aren't with people, that you are enjoying your time and enjoying the season, just in taking the time off, hopefully from work or whatever, to debrief, to kind of collect yourself and get ready for a new year, and ultimately, you know, make it's so stereotypical, but in kind of a thing, a repetitive thing every year, but ultimately do what you can to make the next year the best year of your life. And I firmly believe that we can do that each and every single year just by leveling up with our energy, with one thing at a time. And since it's the Christmas season, I kind of want to reflect on this idea. And if you saw my vlog a few weeks ago when I was back in Newport Beach, I kind of hit on this idea of you don't know what you've got until it's gone. And I want to hit on that, especially in this season of, you know, the holiday season, and maybe if you're doing something special and spending it with time that you maybe with people that you don't see all that often, or, you know, the people that you love, or people that you don't love even. And I think that might be even a harder takeaway to take home from this. And I want to use kind of a specific example and expand on my Newport Beach experience before I dive into, you know, the season of what we're in. And, you know, before we get going, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell icon up in the top right corner so you're the first one to see my videos here on the Tube of the U with me. It helps me out tremendously. Hopefully, if there's something that you take away from this podcast, you're able to share it with somebody that helps as well as watching this for as long as possible if I do not bore you. And if I do, that is perfectly okay. You are free to press X whenever you want. But again, I appreciate you always, and I know there's a quite a bit of you that tune in every single week to listen to me ramble on. And as I always say, if somebody was able to get on a microphone and a camera and change my life, I hope that I could have some kind of impact on just one person on any video or piece of content that I put out. So that said, let's jump into that Newport Beach experience that I was having, basically to reflect on it. And I got super deep in that video, on that vlog. I think it's titled something about like 3 things that I've changed my mind about, but I really went into that idea of being in Newport Beach and what it brought me. I hadn't been there in about 5 months, and I just had this pure nostalgia and this nostalgic feeling of coming back to Newport Beach. And I was kind of realizing I was actually in my buddy's apartment, which was my apartment, at one point, and he actually was ready to take over my lease, coming from Nashville, which is where we're from. Took over my lease. He was still there. He was actually full circle. He was about to move out, and I was staying with him, kind of helping him. And it was just so profound, the amount of gratitude I was having for that apartment, that little apartment that I knew I couldn't afford at the time, but putting myself in an uncomfortable environment to be around the things and that I wanted to attract in life, and to see how my life has unfolded. Since then, I'm super grateful, but I think as I went through that trip of being there and jumping in the ocean and going through my same routine that I was in every day, it really, really hit me that, you know, I was going through that routine every single day. And while I was probably grateful in the moment and recognizing that gratitude and recognize the present moment and being mindful of it, I may have taken it for granted a little. And I think, you know, there's a certain level on your meter of gratitude that you could probably say, hey, I could always be more. And looking back, I really do think I fulfilled that kind of mission of always feeling that gratitude to live in such a beautiful place and chase ultimately what I wanted in life. But looking back on it, I was like, wow, like I missed this. It brought me so much. And I just came to this conclusion that the stereotypical thing, and what this podcast is about is the fact that you don't know what you've got until it's gone. And to me, that is so profound because that applies to so many things in life. And I think understanding, and this is where I'll get deep, that you are in the right spot at the right time in this exact moment for a reason. And you have to trust that whatever path you're on is specific to you and your unique situation. And you come back 5 months later after not living in a place and you realize that that place served a purpose for you in your life. And I think to relate that to this present moment, wherever you are, whatever situation you're in life, it is serving you a purpose. And I think it's important to remind yourself that we have to surrender to the present moment, because if we don't surrender to the present moment, there is no present moment, right? Because if you say, okay, you surrender, you understand that this moment is the moment, right? And that's a super deep thought. But once we can come to grips with that, we can say, hey, I am able to live here now and understand that there's no place else I need to be, because everything I have in this moment is everything I need. And we're kind of going on a rabbit hole here, but the idea that if you can be present, you can ultimately tap into that idea of what you have. And then you'll come back 5 months later to a place and say, hey, I didn't really know what I had, and it took me leaving to understand what I had. And I really do, as I talk about this out loud, I do think that I lived that pretty presently while I was there. But just going back, I guess it was the more profound realization was, wow, like this place served a purpose. And I think that's where I want to take this podcast and this idea of you don't know what you've got until it's gone, especially during this holiday season, is the idea that it may be your last Christmas with someone you love, or someone that you don't necessarily, I don't think that you don't love, but you might not love being around. And the idea that you have that present moment with them is profound in itself, because you don't know what you truly have. You don't know what you could say to somebody, or change a relationship, or hug somebody, or just have that connection and let go of, maybe old history or baggage or grudges, and ultimately just live in that moment of bliss and gratitude and love, and lead with love. And I think that's a very profound topic in the holiday season, that when we can bring more love to our life and to the people around us and ourselves even, and leading with yourself with love, like love yourself first, well, then we can give that to others. And when we can do that on a consistent basis, life starts to unfold in a very fulfilling way. So I think that is I don't really have much to expand on. Other than the idea that we are in this season, and I understand that everybody's holiday season looks a little different than maybe their neighbors, right? And that's okay. But I think understanding that, and again, whatever moment you are in, understanding that you are in that moment for a reason, and you are in that moment to trust and believe in that moment, that whatever is to come is going to come and unfold exactly how it should. And I think if you can start to train your mind and think these thoughts of positivity and affirmations and visualizations of what is to come and what you want, and if you can tap into the idea of feeling what you want, the world will open with endless possibilities. And for me, I think a lot of that had to do with leading with love and really working on it and still practicing it, right? It's not something we all have figured out, right? Or I for sure don't have anything figured out. But it's the consistent practice of that in each and every moment, and finding the awareness around that in that moment to say, hey, be here now and enjoy this, so that you don't look back and say you don't know what you've got until it's gone. So that is kind of the end of what I've got for you today. I want to bring this thing full circle. I guess I just did bring it full circle, but we're going to end with a random question generator. Today's random question: what was the last dream that you can remember? Whoa. The last dream I can remember, I was next to a busy highway playing football, just throwing the football with 3 of my friends from high school that I haven't talked to in years. That was a very random dream, but that is the last dream that I can remember. So, anyways, with that said, keep dreaming, keep doing you, keep enjoying your life as much as you know how. And, well, I didn't mean to get all cheesy and corny there, but hey, to each their own. So, again, Merry Christmas. If you're watching this on July 15th of 2027, Merry Christmas to you on July 15th of 2027 too. But here I am with the Santa hat on a Christmas edition of this podcast. I imagine life will look a lot different in 2027. But for all of you here now in 2023, almost 2024, I appreciate you. This year has been an incredible year of, I think, for me, of gratitude for you all and your engagement and investment of time and energy, good energy in everything that I put out. And I get the goosebumps, I get chills thinking about that, just to put that out there to you, because I truly, truly mean it. And I would say, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. But that sounds salesy, but that's why I say that it's a YouTube sales pitch. So I'm not going to say it, but I just said it. So we're using a little reverse psychology to end this freaking podcast out. All right, that's all I've got for you. I appreciate you watching. I hope you have the best start to your new year in 2024. I appreciate you. I will see you next time. Have an awesome holiday. Have a Merry Christmas. I will see you next time. And don't forget to smile.